Hello, lovely people. I'm Shaq, and welcome. It's been a very heavy weekend, and not just because of what happened over the weekend, but because there's now a list. I don't even have words, but there in the drop-down box, there's a memorial listing of those who've fallen thus far in 2026 to the madness. And that, of course, does not include everyone. It's just the ones that I'm aware of that are victims of ICE. And I'm also going to put links to the the news sources that I turn to that happen to be historians. And I find that their perspective on what's going on is very grounding and very helpful because of their unique perspective. It tells you that there is hope, and also that what you need to do, what you should continue to do. I think I might put another link from a Black Panther, a former Black Panther. What he has to say is very relevant. And I think we get too excited and lose our focus on what really needs to happen. And he was pretty grounding. So I'm just going to put a link to one of his videos. If you want to watch the rest, that's up to you. But I just wanted to include the one that I found grounding and helpful. But today, in an effort to find us a little joy, because you've got to fill that vessel, or we don't have anything to fight with. I have some updates and a project that we're gonna start on part of the bench seat windows that for the living room where Essie is standing, the little book nook that we're gonna put in there. But before that, I'm gonna give you a little update from past me on what happened with my train table, and then we'll move on to the project. So let's turn around the camera and get going. Well, I rushed hanging the train table and it warped really badly. So I've got it clamped down in the hopes that it will straighten out. Here we are several days later, and we're down to just the two clamps over here on this side, because that's where there's still a little bit of a curve going on. I added, let's see if I can show that. I think I've got these boxes up too close. Do you see that little strip of wood in there? I added quarter round to help with holding the cardboard up, because I realized that the single layer of cardboard on the top, and I mean just the words I want are not coming forward, but the engineering of it needed more support. It would handle a very light load, but I was a little concerned that the whole, once I got everything on top, was going to be heavier than I thought it was going to be. You know, like you're thinking it's also lightweight, and the table is really lightweight, but because I can pick it up and maneuver it around easily. But what made me really think about the need to kind of over support it was, I don't know if the sunlight's really bright there. If you can see the dark lines up there that I finally got put in with the pulleys, that is not actually working. It is harder for me to pull the table up into place than it is for me to just pick it up. And so I need to change some things. I need to add more pulleys, and I need to change to a paracord instead of seine twine. But that's what got me thinking about it. I was like, if I am actually making this harder to raise to the ceiling than it would be if I just picked it up, slid it on top of a top shelf, then I probably need to add more support. Okay, first off, the baby doll update. The epoxy did not work. I tried 2 different brands, and they would cure, it would be attached, it looked like it was, you know, solid. I'd push on it, it looked like it was fine, it was going to hold. Go to put a leg on, and it would pop off. And then I could just totally pop all of the epoxy off. None of it remained, which meant it wasn't a good, what do you call it, attachment. It just, it wasn't gonna work for me no matter how many times I tried. The epoxy was not gonna hold. So we went back to the tape, but this time I had just ordered trans tape, which is not gonna work for me. I am allergic to the adhesive, but it's a long hold adhesive that you don't even get in medical tape. Or which is something I've seen recommended sometimes for repairing dolls, is to use a medical tape. And this tape has a much greater strength, as long as you, I think you have to warm it up a little bit after you've applied it, like with body heat, to activate the adhesive, to make sure it has a good strong hold. And I'm not suggesting that you will go out and buy trans tape for that purpose of repairing your dolls, but just letting you know that is what I used. It straps were, I actually added this piece to cover the end as it came up here, because I didn't feel like it had a good enough hold towards the front, and goes around to the back. And then I kind of tried to stabilize the cracks in her legs with the tape. And I just wanted to share this. This is her wardrobe that was made for her, either by my mom or my mom's friend. And there's a pair of bloomers somewhere around here that matches that dress, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, and I love the fact that all of these clothes have fit the gnomes that I make, as if that were made for them. So this baby doll is in the same range as the dolls that I make in the gnome size. So I'm gonna clear this off. And I also wanted to add that mistake here. I think my sister made this outfit. I believe this doll may have been hers before it was mine, which is the case with most of my toys. They were my sister's first. I think my mom thought that 8-year age gap meant that my sister should be done with toys by the time I came along. Ridiculous thought, but there you go. Our first project is going to be the windows in that living room. I don't know if you'll notice in the high-rise there are no windows. My thought there was that, you know, it's like an apartment building where all your windows are on one side, and I envisioned them being the side that was open. So as all the light comes from the room into the high-rise, that was my window idea, and that's why the rest of the room doesn't have any windows. That's my justification anyway. And the Cindy house, I kind of felt like I started with windows in Essie's area down on the bottom floor and added some windows there, but then I kind of felt it didn't fit in the in the room scheme to put a window in. So we're up here on the living room level, and we're going to put in windows that we haven't been doing. So this is a piece of plastic from packaging, and I've cut it to fit my photograph of the view outside my window. I took 2 slightly different angle, managed to get completely different tree clusters here out my window, so that the Cindy house is in the forest just like I am. I think when I do the next floor up, they're going to be in the city. So the room will go from being in the country with the trees surrounding you to being in the city, which is perfect for a dollhouse. They can do whatever. So I hope this doesn't make a mess here, but my thought is to glue the plastic on first, and I trying to be sparing with the glue. Well, that's looking like no glue. know, it's kind of looking like I'm going to end up gluing it to the table instead of to the plastic. Or to the... This glue is weird. It's got clumps in it. Okay, that might be the solution. Okay. Slide that over the top. And try not to slide it around because it will create a smudgy look within your window area that you don't probably want. You just call it dirty glass. I don't know about you, but my windows aren't clean. I don't have the time and energy to go around cleaning the windows in this house. Get that cleaned up. And then I'm going to glue on trim over the plastic. Another solution to that would have been to cover the entire thing and then put the plastic on with glue. There's specifically, oh, I can't remember the brand of glue, but it's a thinner glue that would go on and is used for gluing bezels to the artwork or whatever that you're trying to put the bezel over. Might be Dimensional Magic or something like Dimensional Magic. Anyway, you could put that over this and then put the plastic down, and then you would get probably a better, more like you'd get more of the details of outside. But again, I'm trying to make this look like my window, and my window, you have to really put some effort into seeing outside. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Okay, so we have some pieces here. I think I want to start with the middle one, though. I don't know why. Just do. And had to go and fetch some scissors. And I think this is usually halfway, you know, but you might have a window that it's up here or down here, wherever that opening, and maybe you have a window that is non-opening. We do upstairs. The non-opening windows, you know, you don't even have anything there. It can be just a big sheet of glass, and that's done. It's finished. Maybe if you want trim around the outside. So I guess it's all a matter of what you want your window to look like. I'm kind of liking the idea of the Dimensional Magic on the one hand and hating it on the other. Two minds on it. Okay. Yeah, I think I want to do the sides now. That feels like it's a little long. No, it's not bad. Ooh, that'll be easier. We'll use that to create the second one. Looks like my short pieces are the right length for the side. Isn't that always the case? You go and cut these pieces. I just cut some pieces. I wasn't cutting them to length at the time, and now I'm just looking at it going, it looks like it's the same. I could have just cut them all the short direction. I guess I did the windows for down in SE Space the same way, or similar. It was very similar method. And he also has woodland views. If I lived in town, I would probably just take a picture out my window, which is what I did here. I mean, I just took a picture out my window. I think that that's a cool way to get it. But you could, which I'm thinking that I want to do for the next floor up, is going to have a studio apartment. I've just been thinking about what I would rather, what I want more. And I want a studio apartment up on the next floor. As far as beyond that, I can't decide. I can't decide whether I'm going to make half of it an outdoor scene or whether I'm going to do something else and put the closet. I think I've kind of lost interest in making a walk-in closet because there's so many sets outdoor, you know, and I'm concerned that there won't be enough space above that to do outdoor scenes. If I knew there was going to be enough space above that to do outdoor scenes, I probably wouldn't be worried about doing it an outdoor scene on the wow, we're just slippy slidey. I wouldn't be worried about doing an outdoor scene up on the next level. And I guess I should actually put some energy into seeing where we're at on space before deciding. But I've got time. We still have to finish out this. But I will go online. That was where I was going with that before I wandered off. It was that I will go online and get pictures of a city or town or something. You could also miter these if you'd prefer 45s in your corners. I was just noticing my nails are really yellow. I have been taking care of making turmeric, pickling it so that I have plenty to eat, because that is what really helps me with joint pain. I don't have nearly as much joint pain or as severe a joint pain if I eat enough turmeric. But it does mean that there's a lot of yellow in my life. Okay. Won't be surprised if one day I wake up and go, look, I've turned my teeth yellow. Permanent. This is our final piece. Arthur was giving me a bad time as we were gluing up stuff about not doing the spreading a thin layer. I was just leaving the glue in place, you know, as it comes out of the bottle. And he was very adamant that it works better if you spread it out. And I was like, oh God, you sound like my uncle. And they're both right, and I hate that. I don't hate it, but it's just, you know, you've been not doing it. You feel kind of guilty. Anyway, there's one window, and I will just do the same for the other window. So just to see how it would turn out, I pulled out my Diamond Glaze, which is a dimensional adhesive, like Dimensional Magic, and I don't think it's worth it. Now, if you've got a lot of experience with working with larger amounts of Dimensional Magic type glues, maybe you would have better luck. But because the window is square and puddles of the glue like to spread in circles, I had trouble getting it into the corners, and I ended up with too much glue and a big mess, a huge mess. So again, if you got experience with a lot of, maybe just a little, maybe you're just better at it. Maybe you have a natural talent where that's concerned. Go ahead and try it. Personally, I won't do it again. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to salvage the window. It made such a big mess. But we'll see. If I have to do it again, I have to do it again. I didn't use anything special as far as pictures are concerned. It's easy enough for me to print it out again. So I am making a bench, basically, that has a shelf underneath it for books to sit underneath the window. And I based the size on this little cushion. There is, I want to say it's full of rice, but I'm not sure it is. It feels smaller than rice, actually, which is unimportant. I'm just getting sidetracked on this, on the texture. Anyway, it's just a cushion that I have been using with the dolls. You see it in the corner folded up, and the doll's sitting on it like that. But anyway, I'm going to use it in the reading nook, because I like how the colors work with the blue wallpaper that's on the other wall. And I will probably, I think, add some green and then some shades of maybe orange stenciling around the edges of this. I'm not sure. I want to get some greenery in there, and I don't know whether I'm gonna make actual like ivy plant or something similar to hang in the area, or whether I'm going to stencil it on. Anyway, I pre-cut everything. This is the back of the bench that goes up against the wall, and this is the top of the bench. And anyway, we're going to start putting it together. I've got lines pre-drawn at the level that I want everything to be glued on, and I think we're going to start by gluing these two pieces together, a side and the back, to just get ourselves a square area to work from. Hopefully everything fits right, and the other end will go on easy. I think I keep gluing the lid on. So I'm going to get my blocks over here. Let that set up a little bit, because I feel like that first one's kind of important to making the rest of it go smoothly. Well, it's a good thing I labeled these pieces, because some of them I really was kind of off on what I was doing. So we have a support for the top that goes up against, and yeah, I'm going to break the rule here. It holds the bench top in place. So we're going to stick that there. Make sure I've got it square. Because I totally forgot that this piece had to go in there. And I probably would have put it on before putting the end on. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stick the other end on. Ooh, that's just sling glue. Oh, right. Got to put on enough glue for the extra level there. Let's see if I got that right. And then I think we're going to go ahead and put the top on. And I'm going to put the glue in here on the back. Try and get it on both surfaces. This setup over here on this workbench is much taller than my desk, and so I might be sticking my head in the way. I apologize if I am. Okay. Oops. Forgot about the other glue. Okay, so we're sticking the on the ends here. And I am trying to pay attention to where that line is to make sure that I get it oriented correctly in here, because it'll make it easier for me to apply the glue for the next piece. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and let that fall a little bit. And then okay, I think this could use a rubber band. I want that joint to be pretty good. And I keep feeling like I'm not seeing it. I said there are lines in here, but I am not having an easy time seeing them. Interesting. It's sticking out further than I thought it was going to. And I know cutting cardboard with a ruler, lining it up with the grid on here was how I was doing it, and it's not as easy as you might think. The depth kind of can throw your measurements off. So this piece goes right in here. And it looks like, before I go and stuff this in here, I need to shave a little bit off of it because it's a little bit wider than what the bench top ended up being. Oh wow, that is just so close. Like when I put it up here, it looks like it's right. Okay, we're gonna flip it up and put the glue. Ooh, my lines don't match up. I don't know if you can see that, but the line here is not the same as the one on the bottom down here. I'm gonna get the magazine. So these magazines were what I was planning on putting on the shelf, and I wanted a little bit of extra space, so this line appears to be wrong. Okay, wrong glue. So I'm gonna just guesstimate then, I guess. Make sure all the glue is to the dead airspace back here. And then slide this piece back. Sorry, to make sure that we have You know, I should have also checked it against a piece of cardboard that goes right there. So we do have glue squidge. And this piece goes here. Oh my goodness, it came apart. All right, back here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in, I guess. I may have to do some interesting trimming up. And this might have behooved me to cut that, because the bottom here, you know what, I'm going to go cut that. So when I popped this out, it was clear the glue was all in here and not on the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and put more glue on the edges. I was really hoping not to smear glue all, you know, on all the whole thing as you put it in. But if you don't have glue on here, at least, you know, a little bit, what's hanging on to it? Corrugated is a bit of a challenge. You know, when I have wrapped all the edges in paper, it gets a better adhesion, but it's kind of messy. So I was trying not to go that route, and see how we did on this. Uh-oh. Come on. If it turns out that it just doesn't hold up because of the lack of surface area, I'll let you know. Definitely something we're going to look into here and see if this works. And yeah, we're crooked. That's one of the cool things about what you can't see there, is I'm using this line that I drew there that was in the right place to make sure that this bottom is, it's actually the back of the shelf, is lined up on that line. So we're the same from top to bottom of this piece, and also far enough back so that the magazines will fit. Okay. Like I said before, we are probably going to end up having to put a rubber band around this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece in here. Different glue. I still am debating about how I want to finish the surface of this. So I'm debating between applying paper over it and painting it, and have not decided. Our whole thing shifted when I got this piece in there. Okay, I'm gonna grab a rubber band. So I got one of the big ones, double it up. This is a small enough project that I can get a good spread on the rubber band. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is show you what it looks like in place after we get enough glue dry that it isn't going to stick to the floor over there. Because, I mean, that would be just yuck. And there is definitely glue down here on the bottom. Don't want to worry too much about putting it in place. So you're looking down on it as if it were against the wall, and the magazines go in here and the cushion goes here. So we have the one window installed down here. I think the painting needs to be changed out for something more wide, shorter, proportioned differently, because I'm not really liking the way it looks, but in with the rest of the stuff. And I think a different subject matter, maybe. Anyway, it looks more like a window than it does like a painting. But over here, we've got the bench in, and the window is just kind of balanced up there because it's still kind of moist feeling. I kind of want to change my angle. So there's the bench in place, and the window is just leaned up there. And I am thinking I want a bigger window. So, you know, the experiment failed and was a big mess, and now I'm going to change it out anyway. Next week we will do bookshelves on the back wall there, just fill the whole wall with bookshelves, and decide after doing that whether or not to do more bookshelves over here. And I hopefully will have figured out the wood situation. Like, I want that to look like wood, and I don't know whether to paint it or whether to print out some paper and cover it in a wood print. So I got to look at what I've got access to that way without it costing me a lot of money. And we'll catch up on that next week. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and that you have a delightful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.